Hey, and welcome back to the Game Theater with Disregarding Henry and Denny Boy.
Hey!
We're playing the Tick on Super Nintendo. Denny Boy still got the controller. We're fighting our way through Chairface Chippendale's estate, his manor.
Yep, and this actually, we were talking about earlier in the last episode that this actually is starting to resemble the show now.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I wonder if the moon will become involved.
It'd be great if it was.
Yeah.
I would love to see a little 16-bit cutscene that shows him writing his name in the moon, but...
That stupid, little stun animation.
I know. The grenades take away a lot of health, too. It's really annoying.
I wonder if we're probably at, the halfway point.
Probably. We kind of, saw briefly as we were researching the game a little bit, some other playthroughs, and average is 3 to 4 hours, seems like.
Well, I mean, that's not too bad.
Not really, no. For a game of this era, I actually was surprised it's that long. I thought it would be an hour and a half. Cause,
One of those.
Yeah, honestly, beat 'em ups of this time, I feel like we're pretty... you didn't get a lot of bang for your buck, I don't think. But it looks like with this so far, I'm surprised. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it... Hey,
that one worked,
great
but it's
deflator mouse. That's useless. Basically just a dead weight.
But we were talking about Roger Ebert in the last episode, and we kind of left off on a bit of a cliffhanger. We were talking about the new bye deflator mouse, but we were talking about the new critics on his website, and we've actually been to Roger Ebert's film festival twice. We went in 2010 and again in 2011. I haven't been since. You haven't been, right?
No, I haven't been. I had a buddy who has gone in the 2013 year, I believe.
Which there's a good story about that. We'll probably have to save that for when we're playing the relevant game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
That'll be a good story to tell.
Yeah. Oh man, we'll have to have him on as a guest to tell the story because, man,
get him down here.
That's actually it's worth playing just for that story. Yeah.
He no longer lives in the same town as us, so we'd have to get him down here to do that episode.
Yeah.
But we're big Roger Ebert fans. He's been our main influence as far as our views on cinema and how we look at movies, how we watch movies, how we analyze movies.
Yeah, kind of just letting us think of.
He's probably the reason we got into movies.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say that's false because before Roger Ebert's writings, before I really got into his writings, I would always go by a Rotten Tomatoes score of movies are good if they're over 80%. That kind of black or white view of movies.
Yeah. You base it on a number.
Yeah, you tell yourself that even though you enjoy a movie, because everybody else hates it, it's a bad movie. So
this is at a 50%, so obviously it's bad.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to...
Gummo's at a 54%, so obviously that's a bad movie.
Yeah, so when you're younger, it's easier to think like that because it's less independent thought and less pressure of
someone decides for you.
Yeah, less pressure of having to be like, oh, I'm going to stand out against the crowd. But then you read Ebert's reviews, and he was so articulate with what really makes film going such an important experience and such a vital part of discussion and daily life, and it really changed my whole outlook of there are no good movies or bad movies. It's really just you have to just kind of develop a taste and then discover what.
Yeah, and you just got to be confident enough to say exactly what it is you think, and that was the great thing about Ebert is he was never embarrassed to a big studio summer blockbuster. He was never afraid to say I love My Dinner with Andre, which is just 90 minutes of two guys talking.
Yeah. And he would always get crap because he would, for example, his highest rating was 4 stars, and he would give, say, something like I don't know, Forrest Gump, which we would expect. I don't actually. Did he give Forrest Gump 4 stars?
I don't remember.
Or something I know he gave 4 stars, like Avatar, I guess.
Yeah.
So he would give Avatar 4 stars or Speed 4 stars,
That's right. He did give Speed 4 stars.
Yeah, and then give a movie like an art film, or a foreign film like Aguirre or something 4 stars as well. And people would be like, "Do you really think Speed is as good as Aguirre, or do you really think Avatar is that good?" And he would always say like, "It's not like
it's not absolute.
Yeah, like
these things are relative.
The stars don't mean anything. Like it's all relative to like I'm like if you're just judging if you're judging the movie based on a number, then you're not really getting it, you know?
Yeah. That was the great thing about his criticism, too, is he would always try to approach each movie on its own terms. And that's what I try and do, too. I tend to rag on, studio movies and bigger stuff, because that's where my tastes have gone over recent years, is I've just sort of lost interest in the bigger studio movies and the summer blockbusters and the franchises and stuff. So I tend to have a lot of kind of anti-studio leanings on my channel. But if I were to review, whoa,
the
nose. Okay, next boss. But if I were to review the Star Wars movies, or if I were to review any big studio movie, I would try and approach it on its own terms. And I just posted, probably by the time this goes up, I will have posted my Repo Man review, the 1984 cult classic by Alex Cox. And in that one, I kind of I lament the direction that studio filmmaking took in the 80s, and how it was director driven in the 70s, and then it became very corporate in the 80s. And then there was an American independent film renaissance in the 90s, and now it's kind of slowly devolved back into the corporate mentality, where it's you want to do franchises and established properties, and you don't really want to take a chance on an original idea. And so in the review, it's very heavily studios suck, and independent artists are great, and auteurs are awesome, and but I feel that was kind of the relevance of Repo Man and what it said. So I just tried to chapter 7, stealing is not nice.
We didn't fight Chairface.
That's probably coming up.
My guess is final boss. But...
Yeah. But no, we're back outside.
Henry's on controls now.
Yep, I'm taking over. But that was kind of the viewpoint I tried to present in the Repo Man review.
Yeah.
Because Alex Cox is anti-studio, and he's remained an independent, sort of a maverick doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And that is where my taste kind of runs, but if I were to review a studio film, I would very much try to approach it on its own terms and say, this is a great example of genre filmmaking, of action filmmaking, of craftsmanship. I would try to make it as objective as possible.
Yeah, and
because I think that's when film criticism is at its most valuable.
Exactly, and I'm not the. I just feel like you can have that viewpoint. Excuse me. You can have that viewpoint, and you can disagree with the way Hollywood picks projects and runs their studios as a business model, and I know you have a lot of opinions about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still feel there's no denying that it still requires artistry to make those movies.
Oh yeah.
And
I even that's my defense of episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is I understand, that the original movies did a much better job of getting you invested in the characters and making you care about the action sequences. I mean, you're always watching the Red Letter Media analyses of the prequels,
the Mr. Plinkett reviews. Yeah.
Yes. But it's not easy to put together a coherent action sequence. Where you understand where all of the characters are relative to each other, and everything makes spatial sense, and there's kind of a rhythm to it and a progression to it. And the pod race in episode 1 is a great example of kinetic action filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's very skillfully put together, and that is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And George Lucas did that very well. It's a great example of how to use special effects to build an action sequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may not like the movie as a whole, and I don't think it really works as a whole, but that's a great action sequence, and I'm going to give George Lucas credit for that.
Oh, and I still think it has the best lightsaber sequence. I love the Darth Maul Qui-Gon
Yeah.
and Obi-Wan.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not
It's a
gonna
fun
lie.
match.
And
And Darth Maul may not be much of a character, but like his appearance makes up for that. He's got a really memorable appearance.
And like what kind of
It's like Boba Fett. You know, Boba Fett was just cool because of the way his armor looked.
Yeah, and out of all of the episodes, like that was the one with the most unique choreography of like suddenly it's not like a samurai duel, you know, it's like a
Oh yeah, where it's about form.
yeah, it's kind of like its own entity now of like this, like, because we've never seen a double-sided lightsaber. How does one fight with that? And it
was much more acrobatic.
Yeah.
Probably because like the guy that played Darth Maul, the stuntman, he was kind of like, he's an acrobat.
yeah.
Which I just found out for the first time when we were talking about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, that movie, which is probably, you know, there's a lot of contenders, but, you know, I think Mortal Kombat Annihilation is the best bad movie ever made.
It really is. It's endlessly entertaining.
Oh, yeah. But you just told me, and I found out for the first time that...
Which I'm not totally sure.
Oh, okay. Well, allegedly then, the guy, when Raiden is fighting those like 3 reptiles in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, he starts doing backflips for no reason. The guy doing those backflips is allegedly the guy that played Darth Maul.
I think that's what I remember hearing, but
Well, that's pretty cool if that's true. He also played Toad in X-Men.
I know that for a fact, yeah,
Yes.
that Toad is Darth Maul. Yeah.
Wish I could remember the guy's name. I think it's Ray something.
I really can't remember.
Ray
either.
Davies.
Ray Davies, yeah, from the Kinks.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, just to kind of conclude thoughts on, you know, what we're talking about with Ebert. That was, I kind of, for a while, I think everyone, when they get into films, they kind of go through a phase where it's like, oh, Hollywood is, like, they just make crap, and, you know, I only like, you know, art films. And, you know, then you read Ebert, and he didn't have any sort of pretension about the movies he liked. And,
Yeah.
that he was okay, like, saying, like, you know, Speed's a great action movie, 4 stars, why not? You know, like, it does exactly what it's trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
And it's extremely
tells you what you need
entertaining.
to know.
Yeah, exactly. So that really taught me a lesson of, like, just like what you like, you know, if it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And,
that was precisely why he was such a great critic, is because he didn't try to, like, say what he thought he should be saying.
Yeah,
He just
exactly.
He just said what he thought.
And
So, you know, that was probably the longest lesson. That was probably the lesson it took me the longest to learn. It was like, okay, I have to like this movie, and I shouldn't like this movie. It takes a while before you really get to the point where you're like, you know, most people don't like this movie, but I do. And here's why. And I don't care what anyone else thinks. And this movie's considered a classic, but, you know, I think it's boring as hell.
Yeah, that can be really tough for film fans to sort of come to terms with, or the classics that you just don't enjoy.
Yeah.
That's something
I would even, like, I'm gonna take that next step, and, like, I would argue, like, I don't want to get, like, stuck in a big thing, because I know we disagree very strongly on this, but, like, I would make the argument that, like, Vertigo is a bad movie. But I mean,
this is a whole separate discussion.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say objectively it's a bad movie, but certainly subjectively to me, it's a bad movie, and subjectively to you, it's a great movie.
Exactly, and I don't, like, I can't fault you for not liking it, because it's like, I can only commend you for just being honest with your opinion, because I feel like a lot of people secretly don't like something like Citizen Kane. Or even Vertigo,
like Citizen Kane's overrated.
Yeah.
Any movie that is considered the greatest film ever made, it's always going to be overrated. No film is ever going to live up to that kind of standard.
Right. So it
is a highly influential movie, one of the most influential. Yeah.
But yeah, like the discussion of whether Vertigo is a great movie or not is in and of itself, but at least if you're honest with your opinion, and you actually, you know, are thinking outside of the norm on just acknowledging its greatness, because I mean, like, a movie like that's ranked like #1, like the greatest movies of all time on AFI's 100 movies. It's like, you think when you watch it and you don't like it, you think like, oh, I must have missed something.
Yeah, I must be wrong.
I'm wrong. Like, I need to watch it 100 times to figure out why it's great. Like, no, like, if you don't enjoy it, like, if there's nothing in there for you, then be honest with yourself and come to terms with that, and figure out why, and usually it's good reason too.
Honestly,
we've talked about Vertigo before, and I can't really fault your reasons for not liking it. Yeah, it's your own reasons. So.
And honestly, I feel like the purpose of art is to encourage discussion and the exchange of ideas. And the only way you can do that is by having different opinions. So that a discussion actually can happen. I mean, when everyone thinks the same thing, that's when you've got something really stale and boring.
Yeah.
Pass it over to Denny boy. And so I feel like if you've got a movie where you're like... I think this is why, like, it's so hard for, like, classic films to remain relevant, because everyone feels like it's already been decided, like, okay, this is a great movie, you can't say anything bad about it, and no discussion is allowed to happen. Like, no one is really allowed to say, like, I thought it was a bad movie. Let's discuss that. It's like the movies lose their relevance at that point. Art loses its relevance at that point when it's just like, it's a thing that is like, okay, it's a great movie, discussion over. If you didn't like it, obviously you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, no discussion can happen that way. And that's what makes, like, a classic film boring. But, like, when you can actually react to it and have a genuine reaction and say, like, okay, I thought it was bad for this reason. Someone else can say, well, I thought it was good for this reason.
Yeah.
That's when it retains its relevance.
Yeah.
And it's still, like, it's still just as alive as when it was first released.
Exactly, yeah. Because, I mean, like, it's rare that any movie upon first release is, like, hailed as a classic immediately, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it probably, like with anything, inspired discussion back in the day, and, you know, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, the reason they are classics is because, like, people discuss them a huge amount, and they inspired people.
Anything by Stanley Kubrick, for example.
Yeah.
You know, like, no one right off the bat was like, oh, 2001, great movie. Like, the movie of our time. Like, it's...
That would have had like a 50% on the tomato meter.
Exactly, yeah. I'd been like, what the hell is he doing? Like, what is this? Like, this is a mess, and this is slow, and this is boring. But you know, it's the more...
It always frustrates me, like, when I hear people talk about 2001. It's like, well, it came out in 1968. It was a different time. People liked slower movies. Like, if you go back to a lot of those contemporary reviews, everybody was saying the same thing. This is boring as shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like,
Whoa!
Oh my god!
You ran right for that.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it was going to be like a bonus level or something.
Hey, man, that must be a special thing.
I was just so excited to see something different.
Now you know not to go for the...
Don't go for the rope.
The cartoon ropes on the ground.
Arthur saved me, though, thankfully.
Yeah.
I didn't have to press the button to call him. It was automatic, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
All right, well, I think we're actually running pretty long.
Yeah,
so.
We're running over again.
All right, but we'll see if I run into another rope this next episode.
We'll see if we can avoid the next one. This has been Game Theater with Disregarding Henry and Denny Boy. Be sure to check out Disregarding Henry for all kinds of fantastic top-quality movie reviews and bits and pieces on film history. I got Art House Fever, Cold Sandwich. I look at all kinds of movies. I don't limit myself to any one particular thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure what Denny Boy's doing with Idiot Box. It's still in its early stages at this point, but check in regularly for content.
Yeah, we'll try and have updates and stuff whenever we can, just to let you know what's going on with the videos.
You okay?
I'm dying.
The goddamn regret!
I'm going all Earl Partridge right now.
Okay, and we'll see you next time on Game Theater. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, shit.
Whoa, pause it.
Yeah. I don't know what to do.
I'm hungry.